Welcome back to MMAOddsBreaker. Today we have co-main event RFA 31 coming up. Zoila Frausto getting ready to fight Jocelyn Jones-Lybarger coming here. Zoila, it's been a minute. I mean, you did a couple Muay Thai fights, but it's been a while since you've been in MMA.
Yeah. I didn't realize how long it was until people started to come out when the fight was coming out. They're like, it's been 2 years. I'm like, damn, it has been 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since I fought at that weight class as well. So it's been a very long time.
How's the weight cut? How's the diet going? I know your family just showed up today to surprise you for your sister's birthday, so I'm assuming there's gonna be cake and food, but you're still
No. My sister fights a week before I do, so
Okay.
she has to cut pretty much too. And I've been on the super strict nutrition because I knew I was gonna come down to 115. So
Okay.
I've been on it for a good 6 months, close to 6 months now. My nutrition has been really tight. And coming down to the end of it, I knew that I was gonna have to make a lot of big sacrifices to make that weight again. So I'm just used to it,
Yeah. What have you been doing for the last 2 years? As far as we're concerned, people are looking at your MMA record and going, "Hey, she hasn't fought in over 2 years in MMA.
Yeah.
So what has she been doing?" A lot of people don't realize you also did some Muay Thai fights in the middle there. So it's
Yeah.
not, it's a little bit different. So take the fans at home, take them through what you've been doing over the last 2 years and why 6 months ago you jumped with a nutritionist and not like most people wait for the last 2 months,
No. I've been on and off with a bunch of different nutritionists. I've dealt with a lot of things when I went down to 15 for the first time. A lot of people don't know the story and what I've been dealing with the last few years. I had metabolic damage. I was enzyme deficient. I had a lot of issues going on with my stomach as far as the weight cuts and everything that I have been doing to my body this entire career. So I've had a lot of ups and downs. I had a lot of problems in my personal life throughout the last few years, which is one of the reasons why I kind of switched over to Muay Thai, because I was going to call it quits a few years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had it anymore. I was like, I don't want to fight anymore. I didn't have love for it. It wasn't that I didn't have the fight. It's just I had a lot of things going on in my personal life that weren't really helping with me mentally. So, I had lost 3 fights in a row, and the last few fights, I was just kind of I wasn't there. I didn't want to fight anymore. And, so I took one more fight, and that's when I ended up, in MMA, I took one more fight a few years ago. That's when I ended up meeting Kieran Fitzgibbons, and I ended up coming back to California for that training camp. And then I realized that, it wasn't, a lot of what was going on in my career, and a lot of what was going on behind closed doors wasn't me, So I had to make a lot of changes in my life. I did that, and then I made a plan with Kieran Fitzgibbons, my coach here in California, that we're going to step away from MMA a little bit, and we're going to go back to just basics and Muay Thai. And I ended up fighting Muay Thai 3 times. I won a WBC Muay Thai national title. I won an IKKC world title in Muay Thai. And I did what I wanted to do in Muay Thai. I never got to fight Muay Thai. A lot of people called me a striker, and it was just. No, I've just been athletic my entire life, and I was able to use that, as an advantage when it comes to women's MMA. And so now I have that striking behind me. I have the fight that I've always had when it comes to fighting back, and I'm a completely different person when it comes to fighting. So it's a whole new world, and watching all these girls go into the UFC, and I'm just like, oh, I fought her, oh, I beat her, I beat her, I beat her, I beat her, and they're all at the top of the game, and I'm just like, damn it, I'm going back down to 115. The first time it was the management that I was with, and the person that I was with that was telling me, no, we shouldn't fight at 115 again. And then in the back of my head, I was always like, I did really good there. I want to stay there. I mean, I know I have to make sacrifices to get there. But I want to be there, and I just kind of got away from it. I started fighting at 125, and things weren't happening the way that I wanted them to, and I just kind of I just didn't want to do it anymore. And, but after watching, what they were doing in the UFC, I was like, that's my weight class, and I'm going to go to that class, and I'm going to show them why I was great there, So, that's what we're doing.
I'm an old school wrestler, and my thing was try to eat what we thought was clean, as good as we could, and then just run more, sweat more, make weight, and then now at 43, I know I only look 20, but at 40, I'm really 43. At 43, my body's like the weight cut does damage. Not to mention the injuries I have from competing, which you all have. But my body's done damage, and I think that was kind of your problem trying to make 115. You're doing it like old wrestler style. Like I'm just going to eat a little bit less and train really hard, and my weight's going to come down. It's not really how it is. Like you got to have the right metabolic system. You got to have the right food going into your body, and like you and I could be trained with the same guy at the same time, and we're going to have two totally different sets of food needs. So, and that's kind of like the science that you're getting into now with this new science that you kind of have. You've changed your relationship status. You're in a better place. I know that stuff is very, trying to go through a breakup and all that stuff. It's a miserable. I don't care how easy it is. It's always miserable. But you went home. You went back to your family, which makes it a lot easier. The move, it's cross country, but I'm going back to my sister, my mom, my dad. So like it's better, right?
Yeah.
So now you're in a comfortable place. You feel like making weight at 115 is so much easier. You're looking at these other fighters in the UFC, these other female fighters in the UFC, and going, I fought that, I fought them, I fought them. You're can be within a couple of fights right in the mix, and then add into the fact that RFA is a minor league for the UFC. They're grabbing people left and right. It's part of your contract. They call, you're out, right? So you win the title, you beat Jocelyn, you get the title. They call you the next day, that's with the RFA because they lose their champ, but benefit the RFA because now you're up in the big leagues.
Exactly.
Is this your main, is this the big goal that you're going within 3 years, I am going to be fighting for a title in the UFC? Or are you still at the stage you're like, one fight at a time, win this fight, move on to the next fight?
I'm doing the one fight at a time thing, but you know what? At this point in my career, I deserve to be up there. Not do I just deserve to be up there. I have the skill set to be not just one of the best, but the best in the world. I've done it before without the skills that I have, that I have now. So I'm going in there. Every fight is going to be a world title fight to me from this point on, and it should have been like that. I should have had that mindset from the beginning, and that's what it's going to be for me. Yeah, one fight at a time, but each one of those fights is going to be the biggest fight of my life, and that's what this is.
The women's division obviously has to thank Ronda Rousey for being as dynamic and personable and loud as she is. And then, at least talking about the UFC, we're talking about, Paige Van Zandt now is getting ready to headline Ultimate Fight Night 80 with Joanne Calderwell. And she's 21 years old and gets jumped to the front. And she's, part of it's because, let's be honest, and it's not necessarily in this order, she's kicking the crap out of everybody she fights. And she does it dynamically, and people love it. The fans love the way she fights. She's not scared to talk. She's very well spoken when she's getting interviews done, and she looks good. So it's like, it's that comment. It's the same as Luke Rockhold. Luke looks good, talks well, and beats the crap out of everybody, and that's why he's in the men's division. That's why he's doing so well. It's a step up. But it's more so for the women. Like, you feel like there's like that constant pressure. Like that. Do you still, because I know before when you're cutting weight down to 15, there's a lot of issues going on with your stomach and your insides that just weren't vibing. Now you've got your insides taken care of. But do you feel like still, like the media, that we still kind of push, like, I'm fighting, and this, I'm trying to battle the look. I'm still having to dress to get ready for fights. And a guy like me, I can show up not shaven with my tooth hanging out, and they're like, okay, whatever. Like, they don't, is it still that disparity?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of it's just preference, I'm a woman, and I not only do I feel like I have to, it's just in me. Like I need to look good. I need to bring, the best me forward. So I'm a woman, that just comes naturally. Like I have to, like it's a must. But I do believe that, I mean, unfortunately, that's a big part of any woman in any sport. That's always going to be it. Sex sells, man. That's the bottom line. And if you can,
people haven't seen you fight in, over 2 years in MMA, so don't realize that you are very attractive. So it's very easy to watch you fight. And then I interviewed Jocelyn earlier today, and we talked about how you, and the way I say it sounds like I'm like downplaying women, but I'm not. It's just the majority of women don't kick right. You kick like a man. Like when you kick, when you strike, it's like whoever taught you or however you learned it, you'll chop down on it. When someone lifts up to check your kick, you'll adjust, come over the top, and come back down on top of the leg like a real traditional Muay Thai artist. And it's tough to find someone to train for that kind of mentality. So when you kick people, they get hurt hard. So I talked to Jocelyn. She's having to train with Ben Henderson because she obviously trains at the lab in Phoenix. That's where Benson is. So she's training with Henderson because that's the only one that can really kind of mimic your style of kicking, because the way that you chop is that, it's not like you said, you didn't fight Muay Thai. a bunch till just recently.
Yeah.
It's not something that you've been doing for a very long time, but it's also the one thing that every opponent I've ever talked to of yours is like, oh, her kicks. Oh, her kicks. Like everyone talks about your kicks, but that's not really your favorite part of the game, is it?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, if you really look back at it, I haven't really kicked that many girls.
Right.
Like, I mean, and a lot of it too from the beginning, it was always like one or two shots. I never really was able to put things together because I never really had that experience, you know. Now's a different story,
Yeah.
but I love to use my hands a lot more, and it showed my last few Muay Thai fights. I was like, oh shit, 8-ounce gloves, I can put girls down with these things. All right, it's gonna be a different story with 4-ounce gloves and with those
Yeah.
kicks. So there's gonna be a lot of different weapons now that people aren't ready for. Like I said before, I was like throwing one or two shots there at the end with the last few Invicta fights too. Still one or two shots. I didn't really start unleashing until that very last MMA fight, like the last round. And then in Muay Thai, I was just kind of like putting things together. Now it's just, I have everything. I have jiu-jitsu, I have wrestling, I have judo, I have Muay Thai, boxing. Like it's a whole new world for me. And I'm just happy to be able to put it all together, finally.
I love you in Muay Thai. I'm not gonna lie. I really like your Muay Thai fights.
Thank
But I'm
you.
so happy you're back in MMA. Like I really think that's where you belong. I really do.
Yeah.
And I knew a couple things that were going on behind this, behind the scenes, behind personal life that people don't really get a hold of.
Yeah.
Because they just don't. If you're not fighting, no one, like, fans just don't care. Like they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care that someone might be sick in your family. They don't care that you might be going through a hard time in life. They don't care. They just want, okay, what's happening Saturday night? Are you going to hit this girl or not? That's all they really care about. And so
Yeah.
I know you've been through, it's been a long struggle for you, and it's been
Yeah.
great to kind of watch you from afar. I'm not in your training camp. We're not hanging out in California together, but watching you from afar going, she's kind of back. Like she's kind of in this game.
Yeah.
How big is this fight for you, fighting Jocelyn? Like how much is this championship belt going to mean to you for RFA?
It's huge. It's like, it's a new life for me. It's complete. Everything that I'm surrounded with is positive. It's different from where I came from to where I am now. It's just, it's night and day. Like I can't, I'm so thankful for all the guys here at CSA, for my coach, Kieran Fitzgibbons.
Yeah.
My family's always been supportive. Like they are more than happy to see me back in MMA, because it's always been like, I've gotten in so many times. Everybody's like, when are you going to fight Ronda? I'm like, that's 135 pounds. Like I would fight her. I would fight her. Cause who the hell wouldn't fight her?
Yeah.
Like, I'll take my chances, but I'm like, it's a different weight class. I'm getting back to MMA, people. Okay. They're like, how come what do you mean you're not in the UFC? I'm like, stop asking that question. Like I'm getting to where I need to get to, and I'll be where I deserve very soon, so this is the biggest fight of my life, bigger than the world title that I won before that. And before that, like it's the biggest fight of my life, because I'm bringing something completely different, from up here to my skill set is on a completely different level. And I really don't. I don't want to say it, but I don't think people are ready for it, and a lot of people still don't know who I am.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
soon enough.
You're. It's weird how I can see the frustration on you when you're like, well, how come you're not in the UFC? Look, guys, like I'm just getting back in. When are you gonna fight? Different weight class, guys. Like I can see that you are kind of frustrated that you're not there. Like I can tell that you want to be there. So in the RFA, like we talked earlier, RFA is a great spot to be, because you're gonna, in my mind, this fight is going to be very tough. It's going to be a very grueling kind of pushing fight, but it's going to be a dedicated win for you. You're going to get the championship belt, and then you're going to have to, make a decision. Do I want to jump right now in the deep waters of the UFC, the 115-pound weight class? Because they are not by any means going to give you an easy fight when you walk in the door.
No,
for sure, going to throw you to the fucking wolves right away. Yeah. So it's like,
I wouldn't want anything less.
Jump now, or will you stay and defend your belt? Let's say best case scenario, you fight on October 9th, and then October 11th, Sean Shelby is hitting up your management team like, hey, we want to bring her in. Do you say, I need to wait one more fight? Or do you go 100% I'm coming in, knowing that they're going to throw you to the wolves right away if you go to the UFC?
I'm ready for anything. Like if that's always where I wanted to be, and it's going to be where I'm going to be, So one fight at a time, yes, of course. Jocelyn first, she's in my way, and after that, it's whatever's next. Bring it. I'll fight Joanna after that. If I have to. So I'm ready, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know you're with your family, so I want to cut this a little bit shorter than I normally would. I have so many more questions. I can talk to you like a half hour, no problem. But I know your family's there. I know you want to go do stuff. But when I told Jordan, our friend, mutual friend, for the folks at home, Jordan McDonald, mutual friend, is with me in Hawaii visiting my girlfriend and I. And I told her I was getting ready to interview you. She was like, "Oh, we got to talk about this. Oh, got to ask her about this." Like everyone that I know that's ever been around you, that's trained with you or been a part of your training camps or just been part of your life, like everyone has nothing but positive things to say about you. And
That's awesome.
it's great to see you finally back in MMA because then now we get to have another positive female role model for, I have a daughter that's 14, so you got to kind of look at these things. Have another positive female role model in the sport that I'm a part of and be able to see that come out, and not a lot of this, flipping birds off and yelling at your opponent and being all angry. Like a lot of women are doing that now because it sells. It does sell, but you're coming from a different mentality. And I love it. It's really cool. Yeah. So I'm happy for you to be back in and
thank you so much.
Tell your sister happy birthday and have fun with your family. Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's nice talking to you.
You too. We'll talk again soon.
Alrighty. See you soon.